your pie.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast, A Slice of Pie. My name is Jacob, and I'm here today with Jared. And today, we're going to tell you tales from the restaurant that I personally used to work at and that Jared still currently works at. And today, we're going to start off with the story of the aluminum pan lady. So,
all right.
Jared here is going to tell you all about that, and I'm going to add in some insight as I see fit.
Okay. So, basically, about a year ago or so, pretty close to when I started working, maybe a month or two after-ish. I've been there for a while, so it's hard to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was late at night, close to about 8:30-ish. We close at 9 every night, so people should know that by now. Nowadays, we don't take phone calls anymore, but back in the day, we used to. So, on this peculiar night, we had a phone call, roughly 8:30-ish, as I said before. A woman called, one of my current workers, we'll just call her M for the short sake of the story. M, she answered the phone. The lady asked one specific question. She wanted a keto cauliflower pizza, but she asked if it was cooked on an aluminum pan. As most pizza places, if they use keto cauliflower crust, it is cooked on an aluminum pan. This is done because keto is kind of floppy and flimsy, so it needs to be cooked on a pan so that it doesn't, 1, stick to the oven, and 2, break when you try to get under it with your big spatula, as I will call it. Well, that was going on. Madison, she told her that, yes, we did cook it on a pan, and the lady seemed fine with that. But, you know, that wouldn't be a story if there wasn't some sort of crazy twist. We make the pizza. We make the whole thing. It was just one keto cauliflower pizza. Make it on the aluminum pan, cook it in the oven. It takes about 5-10 minutes-ish to make the pizza. It comes out fine. Put it in a box. Lady comes by, and we present the pizza to her. She looks at it, and she's just shocked. She looks at us. Just, excuse me. This was not supposed to be cooked on an aluminum pan. So we asked her, we were like, ma'am, you said it was fine. And she was like, no, absolutely not. No. Are you guys stupid? Do you not know anything? So we wondered. We were confused. So naturally, the manager at the time, current shift lead, asked her. He said, well, what's the problem? So the lady decided to close the pizza box and looked at all of us. And she said, there is a direct correlation between aluminum and autism.
Wait. She said correlation?
A correlation. Yes, there was, she was trying to use, like, smart words because, I don't know, I guess she's, trying to sound intelligent or something.
But there is direct effect between autism and aluminum pans.
Oh,
right?
well, I mean, no. There is, I will say this now, for all the listeners out there, there is no causation that has anything to do with aluminum and autism. There is nothing connecting the two. This was Facebook conspiracy theorist garbage with her Lord. Facebook moms. That's what this was. So, yeah. But anyway, so she talks to us. She tells us. She says, if you eat something cooked on aluminum, you are going to get autism by the time you're 30. And the last thing I want to do is be a vegetable when I'm 40. And it was like, excuse me, what? That is extremely ableist and, like, rude and just blatantly wrong. But, like, sure. So she demanded that we remake the pizza. However, instead of cooking it on the keto on the aluminum pan, she demanded that we cook it off of the pan, just straight on the oven. And we really try not to do that. Because, again, keto is very floppy. It rips, exactly. See, he gets it. But yeah, no. It doesn't work like that. But fine. So we complied. We were like, all right, you know what? Fine. Just get her out of here. So we made the stupid pizza on keto. Tossed it in the oven. Very luckily, we placed it perfectly enough so that it didn't fold over on itself when we tossed it in.
As it does.
And it cooked. As it usually does. But, I don't know, we just had somebody that knew what they were doing. They were very careful with it. So yes, tossed it in the oven. It started cooking. By the time we took it out, it was undercooked. Because any more than that in the bottom would have been completely charred. Because keto cooks really fast if it's not on an aluminum pan. Because how you know a keto cauliflower pizza is done is if the sides are blackened and crisped and the cheese in the middle is melted. Well, the cheese was kind of melted, but the sides were getting black because they were cooking way too fast. Because the aluminum pan is supposed to disperse a little bit of that heat so that it cooks evenly. But fine. So we said it looks cooked enough, and we're not going to try and burn her pizza, because if it's burnt, she's going to return it. So we gave her the undercooked keto cauliflower pizza. And she left, and, you know, under her breath, she was like, couldn't get it right the first time. And it was like, oh my god, come on, just leave. But she left. She left, didn't tip. Wasn't expecting her to, but she didn't tip. So, there's that. But anyway, yeah, no. And for the rest of the night, we were just kind of in awe that someone could be so wrong about something having to do with keto cauliflower pizza and aluminum tins. But anyway, that's my story. So, Jacob...
I do want to add a little bit onto that, though, because I have had other ladies come in and ask for their ketos cooked not on the aluminum pan.
Sure, okay.
I had, there was one lady that just, like, argued with me for, like, I want to say me and her, like, went back and forth about it for, like, 6 minutes. And this lady just, like, held up the line because she had to get her pizza as a keto, and it couldn't be cooked in an aluminum pan, right?
Of course, no, that's dumb.
And I finally just, like, compromised with her, and I said, ma'am, I am, like, this is how I was trained to do it, and I can't cook it without the aluminum pan. If I do, and I serve it to you, if anything happens to it in between the time that it gets made by me and put into the oven, if anything happens to it in the oven, if it tears, if it rips, I'm going to serve it to you that way, and I will not give you a refund.
Yeah, and how'd she respond to that?
Okay, that's fine.
How they do sometimes, jeez.
I don't understand why some people just, like, can't understand that, like, when a restaurant employee tells you no, they're telling you no because they're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, no.
It seems to be such a hard concept to
understand. Yeah, and the next thing they always ask for is that they can just, like, can I just pay to get that done? Can I just pay? It's like, no, I can't do that. It doesn't matter if you pay. It's company policy.
Like, no, literally, like, I will get in trouble with my boss if I do this regardless. You're lucky enough that I'm going out on a limb for you and doing it anyway.
But anyway, we're getting a little off topic. So, yes, keto and aluminum foil is pretty crazy stuff, and definitely to some people it's more important than others. But we actually have another story.
Yeah.
About the illustrious pepperoni lady.
No. The infamous pepperoni lady.
Ooh, I like that.
As every Your Pie employee is aware of the pepperoni lady and her antics as she cursed the store for, I want to say, about 7 months.
Something like that, yes.
She showed up for quite some time. But at Your Pie, we have a very strict portion policy that everyone has to follow down to a T. And if you don't, well, there's consequences for that. And the pepperoni lady this woman just decided one day that she was going to come into Your Pie and order a pepperoni pizza with just pepperoni and cheese, but she wanted to get what she was paying for. You know, those people, right? And she just demanded every time that she came in that she gets a bunch of extra sauce. And extra sauce at Your Pie is 2 ladles of marinara sauce. That's extra sauce because the pizzas are only 10 inches. So a ladle of extra sauce, like a ladle of sauce in general, is enough to cover the entire pizza. So 2 ladles is enough for extra. And she always ended up getting like 4 or 5 scoops of marinara sauce, which is a lot of marinara sauce. And then she would get at least 3 handfuls of cheese, Parmesan cheese, to put on her pizza. And if you've ever taken 3 handfuls of Parmesan cheese to put on your pizza, you know that it's a lot of cheese, right?
So wait, she liked Parmesan, not mozzarella?
Oh, no, my bad. She got mozzarella cheese. And then Parmesan on top.
Yeah, mozzarella's a lot kind of like greasier than Parmesan.
She got a lot of cheese, and she got a lot of pepperoni. So after you'd put the cheese on her pizza, she would get pepperoni to cover all of the cheese. There is not a single bit of cheese that you can see on that pizza because it is layered with pepperoni. And then she would get more cheese on top so her pepperoni wouldn't burn. The same 3 handfuls of cheese. It's probably one of the heaviest pizzas that I've ever had to make.
How many pepperonis do you think you would put on one of those pizzas?
Let's see. Usually on a pizza I would put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 8 around the sides, 4 in the middle, so probably about 12.
Okay. So that's for like just a strict pepperoni pizza.
Like just a strict pepperoni pizza. Assuming that they're gonna get like cheese on top, of course, for it to cook. Probably about 12 pieces of pepperoni, 12, 14, depends on the size of the pepperoni that day.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I do 12 if the customer's really not so nice. 14 if they're a good person.
Well, you know, sometimes the pepperoni comes tiny.
I've seen that a few times. Not often, but a few times.
If it's tiny, I'll put like 17 pieces.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, if it's just pepperoni, it makes sense.
But don't tell Christy that.
We don't have to tell her anything.
And, when I'd say I probably put about 25, 30 pieces of pepperoni on her pizza. That's a lot of pepperoni.
Yeah.
And after we would put it in the oven, she would sit by the register and watch you cook it. And she would tell you when you need to turn it, when not to turn it. And she did it probably at least 3 times a week for about, I want to say, like 7 months. So,
Jeez.
One time that she was there, a new employee was making her pizza for her because they're a new employee. They have to work with everyone. That's where they were stationed. So they ended up having to deal with her because, well, you kind of have to learn to deal with the pepperoni. And when stopped them and said, "Clearly you've never made my pizza before," in a very, like, condescending manner, you know?
Oh my god.
And I kind of just took over for them after that because I was a little irritated with that. Because I was in charge that night. Like, don't talk to my staff like that. Like, I will deal with your issue because you can't be a nice person. And I'm not afraid to kick you out.
Oh, no. No. Our manager specifically told us, like, hey, got a problem customer? Tell him to go. Tell him to leave if you're the lead for the night.
And if they don't leave,
call
the police.
Call 911. Exactly.
Call the police.
So we had a system. It never actually happened, but...
We never had to call the police.
No. Never had any reason to. Not quite yet, but you never know.
I never stuck around long enough to get that chance.
Nope.
So sad. And so I made her pizza, whatever. She went on her way, as she did. And the last time I remember seeing the pepperoni lady was when she decided she was never going to come back ever again. And everyone was all too excited that she was never coming back.
Yeah. No, I love that.
She caused us a lot of problems all the time. I do believe that the pepperoni lady was one of the main reasons why our food costs went up for those consistent months, because our boss was always complaining to me about food costs and how much cheese and how much meat we were putting on pizzas, and she got a lot of cheese and a lot of meat. And
oh yeah, no.
She got at least half of a container of half a container of cheese, and one bag of cheese that fits one container is $16.
Yeah.
And that's $8 worth of cheese, and then I want to say at least $10 worth of pepperoni. She made about a $18 pizza and got it for half the price.
Yep. No, people do that. They still do that. They still try to do that.
And our boss was not having any of it.
Oh, no. Anytime you have a problem, you call Christy. She'll be right there.
And Christy will fix it.
She does not let anybody get away with anything. Nothing.
Mm-mm.
We love her, though. She's a super nice lady to her workers and to her staff. Customers, she can be a little crass,
customers
but
are a little hit or miss.
Yeah. Especially if they're a bad customer. But we've had plenty of people that come in, return customers, nice people, that genuinely dislike our pizza and they like the staff.
And all the returning customers love Christy.
Oh yeah, no. Christy makes a relationship with most of the return customers. She knows pretty much everybody. She maybe even remembers their order from time to time. A few select customers, she knows their order.
I had regulars that used to come in on my Sunday doubles at nighttime that I remembered their entire order. But that's a discussion for later. When the pepperoni lady came in this one very blessed day, she's never coming back.
She's never coming back.
And when she came in and ordered her pizza as she did. But I started making her pizza how she usually gets it, because, well, that's how she usually gets it. I remember her order. I'm just trying to get her out.
Yes.
And Christy got onto me for how much cheese that I put on it. And she had words to say to Christy.
Oh, you don't talk bad to Christy. Nuh-uh. Christy has none of it.
Quite frankly, was her first mistake.
Yeah.
And because Christy told me that I was making pizza wrong, which, granted, I was, but I was trying to get her out of there. I don't want to deal with her. No one else here wants to deal with her. keep her happy and get her out. That's how it is.
Yes. So how exactly, what was the reason she left the store, like, permanently?
I'm not entirely sure why she left the store permanently. I just remember a lot of stuff kind of happened. So, Christy took over making her pizza because she was being upset with Christy, and Christy just told me to ring her up because Christy was just trying to get her out of there at that point. And when I rang her up, she was super sweet and was just like, thank you for making my pizza the way that I wanted it, blah, 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 blah. Like, I didn't really care. I was just, trying to send her on her way. And kind of hoping she never came back. But, so after I rang her up, I went in the back and I started talking to somebody. I'm not entirely in remembrance of who it was. I just remember the other manager at the time was doing the oven, and she was already irritated with Pepperoni Lady because she was kind of causing a scene. But luckily there was like nobody there, so no one really cared. And she went to turn her pizza when it was in the oven, and Pepperoni Lady corrected her and bitched at her about it. So she put the what's it called? The oven thingy that we use to turn the pizzas, the oven spatula looking thing. She put it down next to the oven and said, "I'm going on break," and walked into the back. She was pissed about Pepperoni Lady. So Christy finished making her pizza, and when Christy gave her pizza, she started bitching at Christy, and Christy, being Christy, talked back to her, as she does.
Oh, she does?
Yeah. And she told Christy, after they were done, that she's never coming back, she's done with this establishment, yada, yada, yada. You know what people say when they're not coming back to somewhere and they just want that restaurant to know they're not getting their money anymore.
I hate those kinds of customers. It's like we are a company. Do you think we care about you, the one person?
Not care. You single-handedly have inflated our food costs.
Yeah, if anything, you're a problem. You leaving is a good thing.
Like, people like you are the reason that I don't get a raise a lot, and I don't appreciate you for it.
No. But anyway, it looks like we're reaching the end of our time. Any final words you'd like to say? Perhaps some sort of message to any future customers and how to be a good customer, at least at the Your Pie? Or just in general.
Being a good customer at Your Pie is basically like being a good customer anywhere. When a food service employee, or any employee, matter of fact, tells you that they can't do something, just know it's not that they don't want to do it or that they are trying to cheap you out of something. That's 9 times out of 10 genuinely how they were trained, and they're telling you no because they're not trying to get in trouble. And as a customer, you should be able to respect that decision. If an employee at a restaurant or a supermarket tells you, no, you can't do that, no, you can't do that, end of story. Because, especially with how things are being run lately, you can't really just say, oh, well, they did it last time and expect them to do it because, well, they probably didn't do it last time. Half the time, the person that you're saying that they did it last time to was there last time.
Yeah, and they'll know, because it's like, well, you're just lying at that point.
Yeah,
So don't lie.
I've had people lie to me plenty of times. They did it for me. They did this for me last week. Ma'am, I was here all day, like the entire week. Just double after double after double. And you, ma'am, were A, not here last week, and B, they definitely didn't do it because we all know better than to do that.
I think one of my favorite lies that I've ever been told from a customer is that they used to work here. Like,
you've had a customer tell you that they used to work there?
Yes! Okay. One time
What?
I was online. Yeah, I was... Okay. So yeah, one time I was online.
I have to hear this.
And I was making a pizza dough. And pretty sure this guy wanted a bunch of sauces, which is understandable. So basically when we do a pizza and we want to like mix the sauces, I usually tell the customers we have a max of 3 sauces that they can put on their pizza. And at that point, that also means that they can only get 3 scoops of sauce. And even then, I still have to portion it out. It's like, you want extra marinara sauce? I'll give you an extra scoop of marinara if you ask me once. If you ask me again, I'll give you half another scoop. But that is as much as I can give you, no more. Well, this guy, he came in, he said, I want all the sauces. And naturally, that's normally a fine thing. I can do all the sauces, I just have to portion them out. But then he was like, oh, but I want extra this, extra this, extra this. And it's like, sorry, sir, I can't get you all of that. 1, the pizza won't cook. And 2, it's going to make a huge mess in the oven. I'm not about to do that. And then he complained at me saying that he worked at the store. That he used to work at the store. Maybe like a year prior. It's like,
what did he look like?
He looks nothing like any of our workers. He was relatively tall. He was, I think, around the ages of 20 to 23 is what I was getting from him. And he looked like a regular dude, average Joe. But he was just obviously in a mood that day or something. But I don't know, real shifty fella. He told me.
There's not a lot of average Joes that work at Your Pie.
No, most of the people that work at Your Pie are pretty weird little fellas, or they just have something distinctive about them.
Everyone at Your Pie has very distinct features. Like Madison had big eyes.
Big eyes, yellow hair, exactly. We don't have very many blonde people that work at Your Pie.
Or people with big eyes.
No, not that. But yeah, no, pretty much everybody that I've ever seen work at Your Pie, they've had something distinct about them. This was probably the most average man I'd ever seen. And aside from that, I know he hadn't worked there, because 1, he couldn't give me a straight time set of when he had worked there, and 2, I'd never seen this man before in my life. The last thing also being that he was an adult. Generally, the only people that we get at Your Pie are teenagers. That doesn't mean adults can't work there. The only people that have
ever worked at Your Pie were teenagers, unless they were female.
Exactly. And this was a dude. We've never had an adult dude work at Your Pie.
Did he ever tell you his name?
19, basically an adult. Nope. No, I didn't get a name.
Well,
why would he tell me his name? And he got dine-in too, so I didn't get the name. But yeah. So no, he complained that he worked there at some point, so he knows how it works, and that I could give him all this extra crap. Not how that works. So I had to tell him that, no, not how that works. And when I brought Christy out, I didn't tell her that he used to work here or anything. I just told her that I had a problem customer. And as soon as Christy came out, I think he realized that she was like manager, so he didn't say another word about how he used to work here. He just continued with his pizza. And it was like, really? You're going to try and take advantage of a teenager? Because I was like 17 at the time. I'm 18 now, but at the time I was 17. This was, pretty early on. Not so early that Jacob was still there, but early enough. But at this point I knew what I was doing.
You know what I would have said to Christy?
What? What would you say?
I would have said, Miss Christy, I have a customer causing me a problem out in the line, and he claims that he used to work here, but I don't seem to remember him. Do you remember him?
Oh no, I would have loved to see Christy get out there and get on to this random dude about how he never worked here before, because I'm not doubting he could have worked at a Your Pie before, but there's no chance he worked at our Your Pie.
But he didn't work at that one. There's no way.
Definitely not. And from whatever I've been hearing about Your Pies, I know that our Your Pie is like the only Your Pie that ever does anything right. Because people are crazy. But they go to other Your Pies and they say that they can do this, this, and this. And it's like, That's not company policy. You can't
Oh.
just do that. And Christie's very by the book.
All the Your Pies are independently owned, and our Your Pie in particular is very much what corporate says goes.
Oh, yes. No, we do as corporate tells us. Because we're not trying to get in trouble. And Christie wants her job. So, yes.
Well, Christie's
we do it how we're supposed to.
Store owner, technically. But
store owner, GM, whatever you want to call it,
she still follows the procedures that corporate says, because corporate can shut her down.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Alright, but either way, I think we have reached the end of our time. So, Jacob, you know what to do. I'm going to finish us off here with our last little bit. So, here we go. Finish it off with the jingle.
Ah, yes. It's not my pie.
It's your pie.